All right, this lecture was actually requested by a few students, so I figured I would make it, okay? Now, I want to cover a bunch of different topics here, but mainly we're going to cover tips on finding suppliers, tips on getting approved, and vetting new wholesale suppliers, and then a little bit of background on the things that are offered in this module specifically that are going to benefit you, okay? So I want to start this by touching on the fact that nobody, okay? Nobody is going to give you their suppliers, okay? To actually get a supplier, you're going to have to go out, do the work yourself, and actually put in the time to find a good supplier and vet them, okay? I don't care if you join the forums, if you look on the Amazon forums, if you join a Facebook group, nobody's going to simply give you up their supplier, okay? And that's because it creates competition. It also creates a competitor that's getting the same products at the same price, if not lower, and no wholesale seller is going to give you their supplier specifically, or literally anybody will, okay? Now, you might have a friend that maybe gives you one or two here, but it's very, very rare, okay? It's a very kind of hold hold things close to the vest type of business. And that's why the majority of wholesale courses and wholesale people that you'll know and you go through, right? They all teach the overall strategy, which, don't get me wrong, that's valuable, understanding the strategy behind how to source for wholesale, but it's nothing without a good supplier, okay? So luckily for you, this course has value in it. I've gone through countless hours myself, as long as networked with a lot of other people and gone through and compiled a list, okay? A list of 70 plus and growing vetted wholesale suppliers that you can use to find profitable products, okay? Like I said before, nobody's going to give you at least one supplier, usually, let alone 70, okay? So I've taken the time to compile this. Do not sleep on this list. You can find it at the beginning of this module. There's loads of value, not even just in one supplier or in two suppliers or 10, but 70 plus, okay? So that's constantly growing. I also might remove one if I find one that's, no longer profitable or no longer offers good things or here and there, or, maybe somebody has an issue with it. So I'm constantly upgrading that, but do not sleep on that list, okay? So most suppliers in the 70 plus list, and most suppliers that you're going to talk to in the future, are going to give you a product catalog list of everything that they offer and everything that you can then throw into Scan Unlimited or whatever wholesale sourcing software or scanning software, that you use to see if there's any good products to buy, right? Some of them you will have to scan manually. Perfect example, that might be like BBCW, but most of them will have product catalogs, and then you'll be able to use that product catalog into a scanning software to compare automatically and very, very quickly, okay? Now, also keep in mind that wholesale is it's a constantly changing business model, okay? That means that you can, potentially scan a list one day and find nothing profitable, no good buys, but then very, very well scan that same exact list a day later or maybe a week later, and there might be a bunch of good products, to buy and ship into Amazon simply because a lot has changed, okay? So often, and this is exactly another reason why I recommend Scan Unlimited here, I'll hit the refresh button on the Scan Unlimited software with an old product catalog list after maybe a few weeks or a month has gone by, okay? I'll hit the refresh button, so basically it goes back into the software, rescans all those different ASINs basically on Amazon and compares them with the prices that are in the sheet, okay? So it's really going to spit you out new data with the same old list when you hit refresh, okay? And by refiltering them through, often I'll see if anything's changed and maybe a price has dropped. Maybe a sales rank has skyrocketed and now that product's in demand, okay? There's a bunch of different things that can change. So make sure that you don't just get one or two lists here and there, that you're utilizing all the different suppliers, accumulating as many lists as possible, and then refreshing your old lists from time to time to see if anything, any new product opportunities have come up, okay? Now, here's some tips for the people that are stuck on, not just using that list of 70, which is invaluable, okay? I don't know anybody else that gives away 70 suppliers that are vetted, right? Let alone even like one or two, okay? So tips on finding suppliers: if you do want to branch out, you do want to find some other people, you can go to trade shows. You can also, and going to meet suppliers there and networking with them there and getting their card, or you can simply search through supplier directories, which is probably the easiest way to do it from your laptop. Now, two main examples that you'll hear a lot are SaleWho and Wholesale Central, okay? So there are other ones like SaleWho that do cost money, which are like annual subscriptions or monthly subscriptions, but they're relatively cheap overall, and if they can find you and yield you good suppliers, then obviously they're worth it. Or you can just stick with the Wholesale or Wholesale Central and sites like that are free. There's a bunch of both free and paid options here. So let me show you exactly kind of what these look like here. Pull them up right here for you. So this is what SaleWho looks like. Now, you'll notice that SaleWho actually, I think it's like $48 a month. Okay, so you can pay for a lifetime subscription, or maybe they've upped it to 67. It's been a while since I've actually paid for a sale myself. I use Wholesale Central as well as network with a lot of different people who kind of share suppliers kind of under the belt here and there if they're not using them. But really, to get a good supplier that's outside of this course, you're either going to have to do the work yourself or put a lot of time in building trust with somebody. And that's very, very rare. Okay. So you can scan these yourself, and kind of whether you want to pay for SaleWho or you want to go a different direction, or you just want to scan through Wholesale Central, you can kind of see the niche, and then it'll show you different product or different suppliers that kind of ship into those. It'll tell you the websites, and then you can go there, check them out a little bit, and apply to them. It's a great place and a great directory of all different wholesale suppliers that you can sort through. Okay. So once you do find a wholesale supplier directory, here's basically the steps to actually finding a supplier, okay? So we already went through and examples of trade shows in the supplier directory, okay? Once you do find a supplier through those directories or a trade show, you want to basically vet that wholesale supplier, okay? Unfortunately, fake suppliers are a very lucrative business, and so you need to make sure that you're actually vetting your suppliers twofold, okay? First and foremost, this is another reason why that list of 70 is literally invaluable. Okay, because there's two basic ways that you need to vet your suppliers before actually purchasing, one before and one after. Okay, first and foremost, you need to vet to make sure that they're actually a legitimate supplier and not going to scam you. I've heard horror stories of people dropping like thousands of dollars and never getting their products through a fake supplier. And unfortunately, this happens quite often to some people, especially new people that branch out and try to find suppliers on their own, because it is unfortunately a very lucrative business. You can set up a website, act like a supplier, have somebody that finally finds you and then drops you a few grand, and you don't have to do anything. Okay. So make sure that you're Googling them, you're vetting your supplier. Okay. Google them, look into them, see if there's any bad info on them, see if they're, a legitimate company, and look into them very severely. That's the first layer of vetting. Okay. Then obviously after you purchase, if you don't know somebody that's already purchased with them, you need to make sure that they're actually a supplier that Amazon approves and ungates you for, right? Because let's say they're a legitimate supplier, but the whole reason that you're sourcing from them is to sell on Amazon profitably. But yet then when you buy from them, Amazon doesn't actually authorize their invoices as a legitimate supplier and doesn't recognize them as such. Well, then it's all for naught, right? You wasted your money just the same because you can't sell those items back on Amazon, okay? So A, make sure that you're vetting the supplier by Googling them to see that they're not fake and they're actually a reputable company and they've never scammed anyone before. And B, you need to also either make sure that somebody else has bought and used their invoice on Amazon to get ungated in the past, or you need to actually go through and do that yourself and test buy something with at least 10 units, okay? So that's why the list is invaluable, because all of those are already vetted suppliers that you can utilize, and I've given them all to you, okay? I do not know, sorry to hit this home, but I literally don't know anybody else that does that. It's literally invaluable, okay? So to recap, you find a supplier through the wholesale directory or a trade show. You vet that supplier to make sure that A, they're a legitimate supplier and they're actually not going to scam you, and B, that their invoices are accepted by Amazon to get you ungated. Then you want to apply to that wholesale supplier with your reseller's permit, then simply get the product catalog from that supplier with all their current product offerings and prices, then put that catalog through the wholesale scanning software and purchase those profitable products, okay? Then it's simply rinse and repeat. And that's basically how you find suppliers and buy from them if you want to kind of branch out away from that 70 plus list, okay? Currently, there's only a few hundred sellers in the actual Online Arbitrage Pro course, right? And all of them are not selling wholesale. So you're not competing even with 70 wholesale suppliers and, thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of products across all of them, if not, hundreds of thousands. You're not even competing with a couple hundred people, because there might only be like 10 or maybe like 50 people that are actually selling wholesale in the course currently, right? So you're not competing with a lot of different people on these wholesale lists. So you really don't have to worry about it. Constantly use them. I'm telling you, they're invaluable. Okay. Now, tips on getting approved once you actually do, reach out to a supplier, or you do find somebody, how you're going to go about getting approved if they actually want to talk to you. Okay. Whether you pick up the phone and actually talk to them, or you talk to them through email, when you communicate with them and potential suppliers, you want to be professional and you want to let them know mainly what the most important thing to them is, that you can actually sell their items quickly, okay? Because they're not looking for another, small business or a small Amazon seller or a small e-commerce seller to sell a couple products here and there. And you don't necessarily have to tell them that might be all that you can sell initially. but they are specifically looking for another high quality distribution chain that's going to sell their items quickly. Okay. So that's kind of how you want to position yourself, whether you're talking to them on their phone or you're emailing them. You want to come off professional and you want to let them know that you can flip their items quickly on Amazon and sell them fast so that both of you can profit and it benefits both of you, and also give them another opportunity as a high quality distribution chain for their business. Okay. You also want them to see you as like a strong potential partner, right? So you don't want to come off as somebody that's like just selling out of their parents' basement or just selling out of their garage, right? Just like a part-time seller. You do not want to come off that way to a high and reputable company, because top brands and top suppliers want to form partnerships with reputable companies and reputable sellers that can move their products quickly. Okay. So those are some tips on getting approved if you need them. Remember, this is basically the formula for finding suppliers right here. It's the 6-step formula. Then literally just rinse and repeat. It's really that simple. And remember, nobody is going to give you their suppliers. It's hard to find even one recommendation from somebody that's reputable, let alone the 70. So do not sleep on that list. It is invaluable.